Hello everybody, welcome back. Yes, I'm here. I'm filming on July 6th, I think is today. I have the day off, which I'm excited about. I am unfortunately not doing anything with my time off, which I'll probably get to later, but anyways, my name is Cameron. Sorry, my name's Cameron. I go by Cam the Stitcher here on Flosstube and on Instagram. And yeah, this channel is about cross stitch. If you've wandered upon my videos, I will do a very quick little introduction. And this is a mid-year WIP parade. I have been gone for a few weeks from filming because of ABC XYZ, and I will do a little life update at the very end of the video, but I want to jump right into stitching. But yeah, so that's where we are, mid-year WIP parade. Warning, if you've never watched me before, I do have a lot of WIP, so this is going to be a long video. My first WIP parade I filmed in, I want to say December, I can't remember exactly. I think I started my channel in November of 2022, like towards the middle or the end of November. And I think I put out 2 videos, like regular floss tubes, before I put out a WIP parade. So I think I did it around end of December, maybe beginning of January, I can't remember. But I'm gonna update you on finishes first. So things that I have finished in the year of 2023 so far, whether that was like a start and finish in 2023 or a finish from the following, nope, not the following, the previous year. So yeah, so I'm gonna get into finishes first. I will say I partially ironed as much as I could yesterday, but ironing is very difficult for me at the moment, just like standing and being stuck in like doing that for a while, because I have a lot of WIPs and that's me, that's on me, okay? But anyways, I'm gonna give you some stats a little bit, like when I started it, when I finished it, maybe percentages when we get into the WIPs for some of them, and I think that's it. It is now Halloween time for me, so I haven't decorated yet. I'm hoping to elicit some help with getting stuff out of the closets and everything, and getting my Halloween decorations out. But I do have Mr. Jack with me and a Halloween blanket that I have out year round. So yeah, I'm very excited for fall. I have kind of like, I guess, okay, introduction. Sorry, my name's Cameron. And you can call me Cam, you can call me Cameron. My pronouns are she, her. I am a person that loves to cross stitch. I'm a person that loves to hyper focus on new hobbies or old hobbies or new to me hobbies. I like crocheting. I can knit to a certain degree. I like to sew from time to time. I don't know. I like to think that I want to kind of start junk journaling. I don't know. Like I love just like researching hobbies and adding things to my cart and then abandoning the cart because I don't have endless amounts of money to buy all these supplies for a hobby. But yeah, so that is, I started stitching in like 2014, I think, somewhere around there, towards the beginning of my college years. I would only work on like kits that I could find at craft stores. Then I got into like the bigger dimensions gold kits, and worked on those for several years. I was monogamous stitcher at the time. I was also like going through college and then grad school and all of that. And I had more of a social life probably, so I didn't like stitch a lot. But 2021, I had some stuff going on. I hated my job. Imagine that. And I like stumbled. I had bought another kit, and I was working on this full coverage kit, which I will show you. It's my oldest WIP. And I was working on that, and I was like kind of just like in this zone of like, I was getting like over halfway finished with this WIP, and I was like getting in the zone of like, oh, I want to pick my next kit. And so I downloaded the Etsy app. Don't do that. I'm kidding. And so I was scrolling through all these cross stitch patterns, and I was like, oh my God, like there's so much cool stuff out there I didn't know. And then I was like, I'm one of those people, I love watching people do the things that I'm doing while I'm doing them, if that makes sense. So like if I'm building a Lego set, like I want to watch people on YouTube build Lego sets. So it feels like that sounds so crazy. It's not, because we all do this on Flosstube here, but like, so I love stitching while watching Flosstube, and I discovered Flosstube while I was at that job. And anyways, long story short, I got obsessed, and I started buying lots of patterns and getting into different types of fabric to stitch on and different types of thread and all of the things. And so, yeah. So now I'm here, and I have been on Flosstube for, I guess, 6-ish months now. I don't know. And I have lots of WIPs, and I've started lots of things, and I've made lots of friends. And it's been one of the best things that's ever happened to me. And I've really enjoyed it. So yeah, and now I have a new job. I've had it for a while. I live with my partner here in Northern Virginia, right outside of DC. I live in a little 1-bedroom apartment with my cat Vindaloo and my partner, and we just like chill most of the time. We love movies, and we do our little hobbies together. Like I sit over here with my stitching, and he sits over here with his video games. And that's like that's, if you want a glimpse of my life, that's literally like every night, that's what we're doing. Sometimes we do go out and we have fun with friends, and sometimes I go home and I visit my dad in my hometown, which is in like South Central Virginia. And yeah, that's pretty much like my life and who I am. And so if you're interested, please keep watching for stitching. I do talk about books usually on my regular Flosstube updates. No books today, but yeah. So let's go ahead and get into the stitching. 8 minutes into this, so sorry. So I'm gonna start with finishes, like I said. So the first finish I have, and if I'm looking down, I'm just looking at my iPad for some stats here. Okay, so the first finish I had, this was a start and finish in January of this year. So I started this on January 6th and finished it the next day. This is called Stinkin' Cute. And I don't, for the life of me, remember the designer for this, but it was in a cross stitch magazine, I believe. Sorry. And I kind of just pulled from Stash. For most of it, and then I chose a DMC variegated thread for the font, the text, the Stinkin' Cute part. And I stitched this on some hand-dyed 14 count Aida. I dyed it myself with some Rit dye. I tell you what, if you're getting into dyeing your own fabric, if you have these little scraps around that you don't know what to do with, and you really like a color that you've come up with or something, like throw a couple of those scraps in there, because that's what I do. And then I have these colorful little scraps to stitch on. So yeah. Okay, my next finish for 2023. This was a start in 2022. I started this on September 30th of 2022, and I finished this January 17th of this year. And this is called Witchy Bathroom, I think, or something like that. And it's by, oh my gosh, Stitchy Princess on Etsy. It's so funny that now that these have been sitting in my like finishing drawer, my memory is gone as to the details of this. I did stitch this on 32 count lime Lugana fabric. I think it's just by Zweigart. And it's very cute. I used all of the called for DMC. And yeah, this really only took me a few stitching sessions. And so I was glad I was able to finish that this year. I have no idea what I'm gonna do with this. I don't know if I want to put it in a little frame or make it a little flat fold. I'd love to put it in my bathroom, but I don't have like my bathroom's very small, so not sure what delusional thoughts I was having on that, but whatever. The next finish that I had, I also started this September 30th of 2022, and then I finished it on February 17th of this year. This is a freebie from Night Spirit Studio. It's called Knifey. And this is actually lyrics to a song by Amel and the Sniffers, which is a Australian punk band whom I love very much and got to see last year live, which was my first concert since, you know. But yeah, so I stitched this on 18 count black Aida with all the called for DMC. And yes, I want to put this in a frame for sure because it's very cute. But yeah, so that was finish number 3. My next finish is actually an FFO. So this is called the Bennett Sisters. This is by Hemlock and Rye Stitchery, which is, the designer is Julie from Kansas City Girl in a Colorado World. And she has a series of these patterns, and when she was like telling us, oh my gosh, okay. So she told us that she was gonna do one for the Bennett sisters, and I think she has one for Little Women, which I'm not like super into. And so when she said this, I was like, let me pull for my stash immediately, which I did. So this was a start on February 11th of this year, and then I finished it a few days later on the 19th. So this is my finish. It might have cat hair on it, and that goes for all of my things. So I just pulled from stash on the threads for sure. So I'm a little bit extra, so I wanted to like match the color to the sister, and to me, like I was thinking 2005 Pride and Prejudice movie, you know what I'm saying? So these were the colors I wanted to stitch with, and then I stitched the border with some DMC. I think these are all like just over dyed stash that I had, and I stitched this on 40 count like mallow or flax by Zweigart, one of the two. I can't tell the difference between the two. And then I just used this like backing fabric I had scraps of and made it into a little pillow. And it just sits out year round. And I love it. So yeah, so that was my 4th finish of the year, and I actually FFO'd it, which was, you know, rare for me. The next finish I had was a stitch along that I started this year. This is the Star Woman Stitch Along by Barbara Anna Designs. I started this on February 2nd and I finished it March 6th of 2022. So if you've seen my channel before, you'll know the lore behind this piece, and that lore is that this fabric was the worst fabric I've ever stitched on in my life. So yeah. I won't annoy you guys about it, but this is, I think, 32 count Da Vinci Opalescent Lugana by Picture This Plus. So if you do not like a really tight weave where it's very hard to see the holes and very hard to pull your thread through the holes, don't get this fabric. But it is gorgeous, and I do love it. It is sparkly. I don't know if you can, yeah, you can kind of see that. I stitched it with all the call for DMC, 2/2. And yeah, I'm very happy it's over. and it's also gorgeous. So I don't know how I want to finish this yet. Possibly frame, possibly just like a flat fold, but I love it. Next finish was a start in February. So I started this February 2nd of 2023 and I finished it on March 6th. This is partially FFO'd. I kind of just have it on some sticky board, which I kind of regret, but it's fine. So this is Ghostface Valentine. This was a Patreon pattern in February from the Witchy Stitcher. And yes, I love this so much. I stitched this on 18 count black Aida with all of the called for DMC except some of the DMC that were called for I swapped for the equivalent number, but in DMC étoile, so it is sparkly. So like the red, the maroon, and I think the black is all sparkly. So yeah, I definitely want to find a frame for this and just pop this in. It's so cute. I'm in my home probably gonna keep this out year round, but it is a great like Halloween / Valentine's Day decoration. But yeah, I'm a big fan of scary movies and horror movies and cheesy movies, and Scream is all of those. So yeah. My next finish was, let's see, I started this January 2nd of this year, and then I finished it March 31st, and this is Beware of Cat by Birds of a Feather. This is still, I think, in print. You can get it on 1, 2, 3 stitch. And so I did stitch it with all the called for over dyes, and I stitched it on 32 count linen in the color, I think, Dirty. I think it's a Zweigart or a Witchell. All right, my next finish is also an FFO. So I started this on February 3rd of this year, and I finished it April 1st of 2023. This was one of my starts for Stitch for Pride in February. This is Closely Kept #1 by The Shaded Stitchery. And this is probably one of my favorite FFOs finishes that I've ever done. So I stitched this on some 18 count or 16 count Aida that I dyed myself with some Rit dye in the color Wine. And then I stitched it with DMC, I think 816. And then I had this like wooden thing. I painted it matte black that I just got from the craft store. And then I cut out an oval of like foam core board or whatever, which was very difficult. And I probably should have cut it a little bit smaller, but I'm happy with the finished result. Hot glued this shit on, and then I put, this is lace from my grandma's sewing desk that I had found, and before she passed I was like, can I have this? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, slay, okay. And I used it as like a little trim, and then this is just like ribbon I had that I probably got on clearance after Christmas at some point. So yeah, this is, I love it. I'm very, very happy with this. Definitely one of my favorites I've ever done. My next finish was a very quick finish. This is Starry Night, like mini masterpiece. I think it's by, I actually can't remember, but it's on Etsy. They have like whole packs of these mini masterpieces. And I started this April 13th of 2023, and I finished it April 19th of 2023. So I definitely, for all of these, I want to do a bunch of them. I'm going to stitch them on just 18 count white Aida. And I would like to finish them in little tiny frames and either put magnets on those frames and like put them on my fridge, or make like a little gallery wall, but we'll see. My next finish for the year, I started this January 1st of 2023, and I finished it April 26th of 2023. So this is a year-long stitch along. It was not bringing me joy any longer because of my fabric choice and floss choice and all of the things. So I decided that I was done with this, and I do have plans for it. So this is the Natural World Sal Stitch Along by Pixel Pixie Cross Stitch. So I finished the first 3 parts, or first 4 parts. I can't remember. First 3 parts, I think. And then I added this border at the bottom, just like this little checkerboard border to just finish it off. And I'm gonna make this into a drum when I feel like it. Just hasn't happened yet. I did stitch this on 32 count Exotic Orchid Lugana by Zweigart, I think. And I stitched it with a classic Colorworks floss that I can't remember. I think it's like Aura's Iris. I don't mind the look of it, but like, here's the thing. I just don't love, okay. I don't love over-dyed floss that only comes in 5 yards, because in what world is that enough? It just ate through my floss because I was doing it 2/2, and I just was like, I felt very wasteful, and I knew I was gonna have to buy more, and this wasn't making me happy anyways. I wasn't like loving stitching on it, so yeah. So that is a finish. I will FFO that eventually. And then I have 2 more finishes for you. So this next to last finish, this was my biggest finish of the year. This I started on May 1st, 2022, and I finished it May 1st of 2023 on its 1-year WIP parade. And this is Thurza Priscilla Dawes by Hemlock and Rye Stitchery. Oh, it's so gorgeous. So I'm gonna have to find a frame for this. I will probably have to go get it professionally framed, because I don't think I'm gonna be able to find a frame that fits this exactly. So, and I don't have framing funds at the moment, but one day I will get this framed. This is stitched on 32 count white linen by Zweigart. And I stitched it with all of the called for DMC 2/2. I made no changes because it's perfect. And I love it. So yeah, I cannot believe I actually finished this on the year anniversary that I started it. I was like shook. I was shooketh. But I did it. I also really enjoyed stitching on this, so that definitely helps. Stitching 2/2 on just like regular white linen, like not over dyed, was very easy. My needle and my thread goes through really easily. Oh, this is insane. I can't wait to have this framed and hung, but for now, it sits brightly in a dark drawer. All right, my last finish for you guys. I started this January 3rd of 2023, and I finished it May 31st of this year. And this is Lost Spirits, and this is by Birds of a Feather. Sorry, I did not iron this one. This is still in print, I believe. You can get it on 123 Stitch. And yeah. Stitched it with all the called for overdyes, and I stitched it on, I think, I want to say this is a Witchelt too, but I don't remember it's a 32 count though. So yeah, I'm a big fan of Birds of a Feather Halloween patterns. I bought another one that is out of print that I plan on starting probably this Halloween. I just need to get some fabric for it. So usually in WIP parades, most people, including me, do oldest to newest WIP, but unfortunately yesterday I guess had brain fog and did not, I thought I was doing that, and when I was stacking my projects, I was like, okay, this is the first one, and so I put my oldest WIP at the bottom and my newest WIPs on top. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna go newest to oldest. Switching it up for the mid-year WIP parade. It's fine. I'm okay, guys. So this is fine and it works out because I have been gone for a while, and I wanted to come back with this because I just had too much to say and all of the things. So next week I will have a regular Flosstube update. But this way I can kind of show you what I have started in the past 3 to 4 weeks that I've been gone. Kind of give you an update on some of the WIPs that I did work on while I was gone. And we'll just go from there. And I think that'll work out just perfectly fine. So for this section of the video, I will be putting up, obviously if I don't have the photo physically in my hand, I'll be putting up a picture of the pattern, and then I'll be putting a picture up of the WIP from my last WIP parade if I have any progress on it. So just getting that out of the way, so I'm not saying that every single time when I'm editing, like I just know to like pop stuff in. So yes. And I'll try to be as detailed as possible on everything. For some of these, I do know the percentages and everything like that. Some of them I obviously don't because they're like paper patterns or whatever, or stitch alongs that have different parts. But yeah, so we'll go ahead and get started with my newest WIP, which is a new start. So this is the Birdman Cometh by Little Robin Designs. You have not seen this yet, so I started this, I think, June 21st with cinematic stitches over on Instagram and here on Flosstube. She wanted to start this for like the summer solstice, and I wanted to start it as well. So I ordered some fabric, got my flosses together, and took this to the beach with me. And if you watch my life update later, you will find out that I had lots of time to stitch at the beach. So this I am stitching on 20 count Aida. It's by Fiber on a Whim and the color Lipstick. And I love this fabric so much. I think it's become like one of my go-to fabrics for like colorful stuff. I don't know. I really like it. And then I'm stitching this with just some over-dyed stash and then the DMC. So I think Cinematic Stitches is also stitching it with all DMC. I only picked an over-dyed for these birds, the purple leaves here, I think the blue, and then the rest of it is just DMC. So yeah, so this is my start on Birdman Cometh. This is honestly so much like, I don't know. I guess it's coming across pretty true to color. This is just like so much more vibrant in person, I feel like. But yeah, so I started this section and I was having a hard time counting because I was working off of a paper pattern, which I'm not like a super big fan of. And so I didn't go all the way across. So I was deciding, I was like, all right, well, let me go down because at least that's like easier to count for me. But lo and behold, I was working on this and I started to get to where my thread is hanging. And I realized, I think this is the horse that I'm trying to stitch. And I realized I am off by a row, a column. And I've stared at this and stared at it and I cannot figure out where I made the mistake. So when that happens for me, I'm gonna probably just try to fudge this. Normally I'm a frogger. I'm not gonna lie, I will frog. But I think I'm just gonna fudge it. Also, if you're new to cross stitch, frogging means ripping out the stitches and like starting over. Not all of them, but just like where you've made the mistake or whatever. And then if you fudge something, it's what it sounds like. You just try to make it work. So yeah, so not a bad start, I would say. I am just gonna, this is kind of in timeout at the moment. I am gonna try to fudge it and get some work done on it. I will say I love stitching on 20 count Aida. I think it's become my new, like, I'm gonna start to stash up on some 20 count Aida. This is so like soft and the stitches are so tiny and it's so cute. So anyways, spoke enough about that. But yeah, so that was my first WIP, new start. I started that again June 21st. So all right, my next start was for the hashtag Stitch for Sage. I started this June 11th of 2023 this year. And this is one of her woodcut patterns. I already have one going, which you'll see soon, but I wanted to start a new one in honor of Stitch for Sage. If you are interested in that, go to Instagram and check that out. Lots of Flosstubers are involved, and I believe it was, I don't believe it was, I know it was, I think it's Cats and Horror Stitching. I'll put it down below and I'll link her down below as well. She has a Flosstube, she's fabulous. And she reached out to a lot of us and was like, hey, let's stitch for Sage. So I started this. This is the Witches and Demons woodcut. And I've got a lot of progress on this. I'm kind of addicted to stitching this type of, I'm stitching it on 28 count, like raw linen. And I'm stitching it two threads of DMC over one tent stitch. So the stitches are very tiny, and I'm using DMC 310. And I am at 27% complete on this. It's so cute. I already own all of these patterns, and I will be stitching them all on this linen 2 over 1 tent stitch, and they're all going to be tiny little woodcuts. I don't know if I want to like turn them into little pillows and have like a little dough bowl of like demonic guys, I do stitch some more traditional stuff, I promise, but you know, I like this stuff. I like creepy stuff. I like Halloween-y stuff. I like gothic stuff. I'm a goth, I promise. I know that like today my hair is giving like country music star, which I'm loving. But I promise I am a goth deep down and also not so deep down. But yeah, I'm really happy with my progress on this. I think they have a hashtag going as well, Stitch for Sage Sunday, or I think something like that. And so people are pulling out their Night Spirit Studio patterns and working on those on Sundays. So this is just like a relaxing stitch. So I'm very happy with that. All right, next WIP. I gotta move faster through this. So this is the Black Butterfly sampler by the Shaded Stitchery. And I started this for my friend Bridget, the museum stitcher. It was her Flosstube anniversary. So I started this in honor of her. And I started this June 3rd. And I am 6.6% done. So I'm stitching this on 40 count Razzmatazz linen by Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers. This was a fabric of the month last year, and I'm stitching this with a Gloriana silk. I think it's in the color aubergine, and it's this really deep purple. It looks pretty much black right now, but I promise it's purple. And this is gorgeous and I love it. And I definitely want to get some more. I only worked on this for one day, so I definitely want to get some more progress on this, but this is a really, really pretty stitch. So yeah, my next WIP is the June Patreon pattern from the Witchy Stitcher. It is called Nostalgic Ouija Board, or Nostalgic Ouija. This is her take on Lisa Frank. And it's perfect, and I'm obsessed with Lisa Frank, and yeah, so Anyways, I started this on June 3rd as well. And I'm stitching this on, here we go, 18 count black Aida with all the called for DMC. And it's covered in cat hair. I feel like there we go, that's better. I was like, this is washing it out there. So I started in the middle, and I'm getting through the letters and the numbers. I've only worked on this for like 2 days, I think, so I'm looking forward to getting some more progress. My next WIP is also Witchy Stitcher. This was her contribution to the Pride bundle from the Stitchers Collective. I started this June 1st as my little Pride start, and this pattern is called Queer Goth. And this was also just like a 1-day start, so I don't have like a whole lot done, but a decent amount. This will be a very quick stitch. I just need to like stitch on it, essentially. So yeah, very cute. All right, my next WIP, I started this on May 20th of 2023. This is a pattern by Hello from Liz Matthews. You may perhaps have heard. This is the Vanity Sampler that was a Nashville release this year, this March, I believe. And I did a goth conversion for this. It's like a Victorian, like goth-ish conversion. It's lots of like dusty pinks and purples, grays, like deep, like muddy grays, and then like a turquoise and a brighter like magenta color that I popped in there. So I've only worked on this a little bit, which I need to get this back out because I'm seeing everyone's progress on it that are using my conversion, which thank you so much if you are and have reached out. If you want that goth conversion, I will just send me an email or send me a DM on Instagram. My email is going to be linked down below, but it's just camthestitcher@gmail.com. And my Instagram is camthestitcher, so pretty simple. But yeah, so I'm very not much started on this. All right, so here is my progress. So you can see like, it's the same. I tried to keep to the same vibe, but just like kind of a sister to it. So this was a lot of like greens and golds and blues and stuff. And so I just went for just a little bit of a different vibe, but it's still like, it's not too off kilter, you know? But I love it. I am stitching this on 36 count brown sugar linen by Fiber on a Whim, 1/2. I'm loving the coverage, looks great. And yeah. My next WIP is a secret project, and it's only secret from one person, which is my boyfriend, Connor. This is called Reaping Love by Silver Creek Samplers. I'm stitching this for our anniversary, which is October 25th. It's coming up sooner than I would like, but for this finish, not like in general. It'll be 4 years that we're together. And so I'm stitching this on 20 count Aida by Fiber on a Whim in the color Cocoa, which I think is the called for, if I'm remembering correctly. Oh, I love it. So I'm stitching this in the called for DMC, and then I picked, this is like an over dyed by Weeks. I picked a DMC that is one of my favorites. It's 3021, and it's this like muddy brown gray green color. And then I picked a different over dye for this grass over here. So that's my progress. I only get to stitch on this when he's not home. So sometimes during the day, or if I like go out of town without him, I'll bring this, but yeah, slow but steady, but I think I can definitely get it done before October. And I love this fabric, and he's so tiny. It's gonna be really tiny finish, but whatever. My next WIP is the Tent Maker Small by Carolyn Manning. I started this for Manning Maysow, which me and some of my friends put on in May, and it was very popular, so we will definitely be doing it next May as well. I just like having a different option for May. There are lots of hashtags, lots of stitch alongs in the month of May. I'm not a fancy lady stitcher yet, caveat on that. And I don't want to start a million things. I mean, sometimes I do, but like usually in the month of May, I do not. So we wanted to start this hashtag and stitch on Carolyn Manning designs. So this is the one I picked. It's one of the smaller ones. It's only about 65 by 65 stitches, or maybe 63, I can't remember. I started this April 25th of 2023, so I did get a little bit of an early start. Don't tell anybody. And I am 49.3% done. So this is a full coverage, but I am stitching this on like a random scrap of 18 count Aida or 16 count Aida that I dyed myself with some pink Rit dye. And I like it because, you know, the stitches, like I'm doing 2/2, but if you can see the fabric, it's this pink fabric that you're seeing. And I'll probably finish this, I've played around with the idea of finishing it as a Biscornu, but we'll see. So I want some of this fabric possibly showing. I might do like a stitch around, like, do you know what I'm saying? My next WIP I started April 17th, and this is Rose Quaker by, I will put it's like a German name, Weinberg. And you can get this as a PDF on their website. And yeah, I am stitching this on 36 count Milk and Honey by Fiber on a Whim. And I am stitching it with my own, like, my own over dyed conversion from Stash. Lots of just colored and cottons, really. And that is my measly start on it. I will say I only worked on this one day, and I was like, I was stitching fast on this. I don't know what happened. So I definitely need to pull this back out. I think 1/2 on 36 count is like possibly maybe a sweet spot for me as well. I have several sweet spots, let's just say that. But I was able to stitch pretty fast on it, so. My next WIP, and this is kind of a little bit of an update from the past few weeks. This is the Greenhouse of Oddities Sow by Lola Cross Stitch. I started this on April 14th, 2023. This is an ongoing stitch along, so this is technically a finish for now until the next part comes out this Friday, I believe. Tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow. I stitched on this before I went to the beach, but I didn't finish the part that came out because of things. And then I went to the beach and I was like, oh, I'll catch up. Didn't stitch on this at all at the beach. And then I came back, and so then I was 2 parts behind once that other release came out. So I had to stitch on this for a bit, and I was getting a little tired of it, but it's okay. This is stitched on 32 count Timberwolf by Seraphim. Ugh, she's gorgeous. Like, the pain was worth it. The annoyance was worth it. So the part that came out before I was at the beach is this, kind of hard to show here, is this part of this planter with these guys and the Venus flytrap and the rat that I love. I love that rat. I forgot what I named her. My boyfriend asked me what her name was, and I was like, just said the first one that came to my mind, but anyways. And then this was the next part that came out this past Friday, and it is like this dead, like, parasitic tree thing. And it looks so cool. Don't get me wrong, I love it, but stitching this, I was not having a grand time. It's only 3 colors of DMC, which is a nice switch up because a lot of these parts will have a lot of color changes going on. But it was just, I think, 3 colors of DMC. 3 or 4. It was 4, I think. But it was a lot of just like counting and I don't know. But yeah, I'm glad I've caught up on it. So I'll be stitching on this tomorrow when that new part comes out. So I can keep up. I stitched her Haunted Library, which is right here, last year, and I kept up with it week to week. And it is very doable. If you do the frame before the parts start to come out, it's very easy to keep up with it. If you just stitch on it for like 1.5 days, or it depends, obviously everyone stitches differently, but that's my experience. So, all right, my next WIP is very tiny. This is Wonky Cat by Marumi Designs. She's here on Flosstube. And I started this March 20th of 2023, and I have not stitched on it since, but I'm stitching it on like a scrap of 40 count Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers. It was a fabric of the month. I can't remember the name of it. And I'm stitching it with like an not an overdyed, a variegated DMC that I love. It's like I don't know if you can see that. Probably. It's like an orangey, pinky, sunsetty color. So yeah, that's all I have done right now. Not that much, but this is a good travel stitch. I'll definitely bring it back out. All right. My next WIP, I started this for Marjorie from Marjorie Made. She started a like full coverage stitch along called Rip My Whip Sal back in, was that March? I can't remember. I started it February 22nd of 2023. This is called Arcadia. It is charted by Heaven and Earth Designs, and the artwork is by Bob Doucette. And I am 1.1% complete. I love that butterfly. I'm using the Royal Rose parking method, and I'm stitching this on 28 count easy grid, 2/1 10 stitch. So yeah, she's gorge. I try to take her out once a month. Last month that didn't happen, but I'm definitely gonna bring her out this month. So yeah, that is my next WIP. Don't worry, I will tell you the WIP count at the end of this. It's a big number though. It's a large number, okay? Alrighty, my next WIP is another Hemlock and Rye Stitchery reproduction sampler. This is my favorite. I don't know, Thurza is pretty great. I'm also biased though because she's finished. So this is called the Misspelled Sampler. And I started this February 14th of 2023. And I am stitching it with the Called For Classic Colorworks. I subbed out one of the overdyes for Color and Cotton. And it's that orange that you see in the border here. But everything else is Called For. And I'm stitching this on some Bestitch Me fabric. It was fabric of the month. Oh, I don't remember now. And I don't have the name of it, but it's so pretty. So I did work on this a little bit, maybe since you last saw it, I can't remember, but I kind of just brought more of the border down, and then I was like, oh, I'm gonna stitch the whole border first. I don't know what I was saying. So I kind of went over here and I was like, I gotta stitch a motif at least. So I did that, and then I started this motif, and then, you know, and then squirrel, and then, you know, I'm on to the next thing or whatever. So yes, and I am 6.6% done with this, complete on that. So that's nice. That's doable, right? All right. My next WIP was also a Marjorie Made Me, a Marjorie Made Me. This is Sprouting Lupine's Love Bugs sampler. You can find them on Etsy and on Instagram. I love this pattern so much. So update, this was one of my WIP Go calls from last month, so I do have some progress since the last time you saw it. I'm stitching this 2/2 on 32 count Sprite Lugana by Picture This Plus with all of the called for threads. And I believe the hashtag we're using is Love Bugs Sampler. No, Love Bug Sal. Love Bug Sal. Ugh. Okay, so since the last time you saw it, I think I had all of this done, partially this done, and partially this done. So I went ahead and finished this, finished out the wings here, and then came down here and stitched all of that. My goal was to finish this last month, but that was very unrealistic for me to put on myself. I did get to 54.4% on this, which I'm very happy with, and I was able to put in my initials, which is cool. I just charted the initials myself because the initials that are on there are none of the letters I needed. So I love this white bug. Like, I know you can kind of barely see it, but it's so pretty. This fabric in real life is more purple than it's showing up. It definitely gets washed out. Purple, I think purple fabric is the hardest fabric to photograph and to, like, obviously film. But yeah. I will probably pull this out again before the year ends, just because I do want to get more progress on it. And it is like, it's not necessarily close to a finish, but it's like kind of close to a finish. And I do really enjoy stitching on this. So yes, if you want to check out some other people that are stitching on that, just go to that hashtag. I know obviously Marjorie is stitching on it with some on green fabric. Lemonade stitching, she's stitching it on, I think the same fabric as me, but then she did a purple like color conversion on the threads. Gorgeous. And then a couple people have finished it. So yeah, definitely go check out that hashtag. My next WIP, this was a stitch along started by a few people, but I think definitely Julie from Kansas City Girl in the Colorado World. This is the Beatrix Potter Quicker Sampler. I think they started this at the beginning of the year. I started it January. Oh my God, these aren't in order, are they? No, they are. Sorry, I forgot we're going, whatever. Okay, I started this January 30th of 2023. I am stitching this on 40 count linen in the color Peony by Fiber on a Whim. And I'm stitching this with Dinky Dyes silk. And the Dinky Dyes is called Pink Tourmaline. And this was like my genius color combo that I came up with. Sorry, I did try to iron this one, but my iron was like running out of steam essentially. Like it wasn't working very well. So I'm 6.4% complete with this. I've only probably stitched on this 2 or 3 days out of the year. Ugh. And I love stitching on it. Dinky Dyes feels like fantastic. I'm doing it 1/2. And yeah, this is where I am. A few of my friends have also been inspired by me and gotten this exact same linen and Dinky Dyes and started their own monochromatic pieces with it. I know Bridget just posted hers. It's a Jane Austen piece that she's stitching with the same floss and fabric, and I love it. My next WIP, this I started with Megan, the Seattle Stitcher. This was the first like stitch along I did with another Flosstuber. Megan is just one of those like fantastic people. She just takes you in her arms and just embraces you like over virtually. And I had just, started my channel, and she reached out to me and she was like, love your stuff. Like, and we talked about this pattern. And so we started it together on January 13th of 2023. I pull this out the 13th of every month, or I try to. I think I've only missed like 1 month. But this is by Kathy Barrick. It's White Winter Moth. And we are using the hashtag Winter Moth Sal. So basically, like, obviously if you want to show us your progress on this, but also any other moth pattern you're feeling, hashtag winter moth style. So I'm stitching this with one DMC and then some overdyes that I kind of just picked based off of the DMC conversion that Kathy gives us. And I'm stitching this on 40 count Chai Love You linen by Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers. And that is my progress. I really love this piece. Next time I pull it out, I have to like commit. I'm going to work on the moth itself, and I might finish this motif out as well. So, and that'll be in a few days. I think I pull this out. It's gorgeous. But yeah, go check out Megan if you want to see someone else stitching on this. I think she's stitching it on like a Bestitch Me Honey, possibly, and she's stitching it with the DMC, and it's looking gorgeous. So my next WIP, this is Autumn Cloche by Hello from Liz Matthews. I started this on January 3rd of 2023. This was one of my like kind of 12 by 12 starts, except I didn't do 12 by 12 on New Year's Eve. I did it like a couple days later because yeah. I have not pulled this out since I started it, so it does not have really any progress. But I'll go ahead and show you what it looks like. This is stitched on I actually don't know, and that's rough, but you know what? I think it's Fiber on a Whim Cocoa, but I think it's a 36 count linen, if I'm remembering correctly. And this is all I have done. I started on the bottom with the, you know, cloche part. And I'm stitching this with, I think mostly some overdyed stash and then some of the called for DMC. So yeah, this is on my WIP Go board, so it will get taken out at some point this year. I just haven't gotten it out. So my next two WIPs, they're on the same piece of fabric, so I'm just going to show you, I'm going to show you them at the same time. So the first one is Mum's the Word by Pixel Pixie Cross Stitch. This was the Cottage Gardens, nope, yes, Cottage Garden Threads, like stitch along. They did like, anyways, it's the Autumn Garden collaboration. Oh my gosh, I can't speak today, sorry. And you know what, now I'm like looking this, I don't know which way is up, but all right, so that is my start on it. This, honestly, it's on my WIP Go, on my smallest WIP Go board, and it's for a finish, because I know as soon as I pull this back out, it'll take me probably 2 more days to finish it, so. It will get finished this year. This is stitched on, I think, a 32 count. I don't remember. I got it from Top Knot Stitcher. I think it might have been like a scrap, an ornament scrap of some sort of linen. But yeah, so that is the first one, and then I'm stitching Bendy Stitchies, sorry, Autumn Colors in the same Cottage Garden threads, and I'm just doing that on the other side of the fabric here. And I will also definitely finish this year. So very easy stitch, very cute. I finished the whole border, I think, yeah. So yeah. So I started this is the Reaching Skyward Stitch Along by Modern Folk Embroidery. This is the 2023 stitch along that I am not keeping up with, so don't expect that from me. And this is started January 3rd of 2023. Yeah, this is called Reaching Skyward again. I have not picked this up since you last saw me. I'm stitching it on 40 count Billie Jean by Roxy Floss Co. linen, and I'm stitching it with Roxy Floss Co. Charlie Brown is this bronzy color, and I don't remember, but it's a Roxy Floss Co. for the dark, like turquoise color, teal color, not turquoise. Yep. it's gorgeous and I want to get more progress on it, but it's just not calling to me at the moment. And yeah. The next WIP that I have, I also started this, let's see, I started this January 2nd, 2023. This is called Bad Vibes Sampler. This is by Fergus Reed, and I think they go by Bad Vibes on Instagram, Bad Vibes Shop or something on Instagram and Etsy. And this was like one of my new year, new start sort of thing. I'm only at 2% on this complete, and I started in the center. And I'm stitching this on 40 count Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers. It was a monthly fabric that I can't remember the name of. And I'm stitching it with all of the called for DMC. And it's very cute so far. I just haven't, it's on my WIP Go board, so it will get pulled at some point. My next start or WIP was started on January 2nd. This is Pumpkin King by Mama Witch X Stitch, and I am 4.3% complete with this. Again, I started this and have not since pulled it out. This is stitched on 32 count, I think, raw linen by Zweigart. All the called for DMC. My next start was a Cottage Garden sampling start. This is Strawberry Harvest, and I'm stitching this with the called for Gentle Arts and DMCs on the called for fabric, which is Ancient, 40 count Ancient by Picture This Plus. And I have a thread hanging because that's how I roll. But yeah, this is my progress so far. I did try to pull this out after I started this at some point and work on it, but it is kind of difficult. Again, it's a paper pattern and I don't love paper patterns. And I'm trying to like mark, I took a picture of the pattern and like tried to mark it on my phone, but it's just like not into it. So, but anyways, I will figure it out and get more progress on it. Okay, my next WIP is also a Night Spirit Studio pattern. It's called Unexpected Visitors. I started this on January 2nd of 2023, and yes, this is where I'm at. I have gotten some progress. This was a WIP Go pull from last month. I did not reach my goal. My goal was to get to 10%, and I got to 8.4%, but hey, it's progress, so I will call it a win. It's stitched on 32 count raw linen and the called for DMC. So yeah, lots of people are stitching this for Stitch for Sage because it's an awesome pattern. So I will definitely keep pulling this out over the year. My next WIP is also a Night Spirit Studio WIP. This is the other woodcut pattern I was talking about that I had started. This is called Farmer's Free Fall. Started this January 2nd, and I am 5.8% complete on this one. And I can't remember if this is the right way to show it. He is falling. I started in the middle, and again, I'm stitching this on 28 count raw linen, 2 over 1 10 stitch. Let's flip it upside down and see if that's, I don't think that's right. I think he's falling with his legs up. I can't remember, but yeah. So I haven't pulled this out again, but I know as soon as I do pull it out, like with that other one I showed you, that was just one day of me stitching on it, and I got a lot of progress, so I can definitely do that. My next WIP, this was started on January 1st of 2023. This is called The Needleworker by Cottage Garden Samplings. I don't want to take it out of the bag right now. This is what it looks like. And I'm doing all of them in the series, but this is the only one I've started. And so that's my very small start. This is stitched on 36 count aged paper linen. know who the dyer is. It might just be his Zweigart. Or Picture This Plus. One of the two. I can't remember. But it's very cute. Alrighty. My next WIP, this is called Pretty Christmas Village. So we're getting into the 2022s now. This I started on December 2nd of 2022. This is by Lucy Heaton on Etsy. And I'm stitching this on 40 count Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers. I think like Mermaid Mule. And that is where I'm at. I have not stitched on this year, but it is on my WIP Go board. I could stitch on this month for like Christmas in July, but I don't know if I'm gonna be doing Christmas in July because I want to finish some other stuff. I want to do some other stuff, guys. But yeah, I'm doing all the called for DMC. I did make some changes. I'm doing the snow in half stitches because I like the texture of that. Plus it gets it done faster. And I think it looks good. But yeah, it's so pretty. This is obnoxious fabric, but I really like it for actually Christmas. And then I have a finish from last year on here. This is D20 Stitches, an Uncanny Kari. I can't remember the name of it now, but it's a trans mermaid and he's fabulous. And I stitched it with DMC Etoile. That was last year's finish, so like, you know, but I have to show it because it's on this fabric. So anyway, so that was my next WIP. No idea what number we're at. If you're keeping count, congrats. This is my next WIP. I started this October 31st of 2022. This is Black Cats and Spooky Bats by Park Hopper Bart. And I'm stitching this on 40 count Roxy Floss Co. linen in the color Peanut Brittle, which is I think no longer available. And I'm stitching it with all the called for Roxy Floss Co. flosses. I have definitely worked on this year. And I think, let me see, I am at 11% on this. This is actually a lot more stitching than it looks like. So yes, deceptive, but very pretty, and I can't wait for that to be finished. My next WIP, this is Park Hopper Bart as well. This is Bonaventure Cemetery. This was in a Fangirl Fibers box that I got. It's like called Haunted America or something. I started all of these, I got really excited. I started all of these on the same day that were in the box. I have since UFO'd most of them. Mostly they just like, I wasn't that excited about stitching them. Nothing wrong with the design, just like not super into it. Into the fabric either. So all of the fabric that came in the box, everything came kitted. I think it's just like a 32 count Lugana that kind of doesn't have really a lot of color going on. And I think now that I've like stitched a lot of things, I like color, I like modeling in my fabric, I like something that's a little bit exciting. So yeah, but I love this pattern a lot, so I want to keep stitching on this. I have not stitched on it at all this year, but this is my start on it. So yeah, using all the called for DMC. So yes, that is that. And then the next one is from that same box. This is Bendy Stitchy Winchester House. This was the other one I really, really liked out of the box. I'm stitching this with all the kitted stuff. And I haven't pulled this out. This is on my WIP Go board though, as is the other one. So I'll get some more progress on it. My next WIP is the one I'm currently working on, and I'm not taking it out of the hoop because I'm right where I want to be, but this is the Halloween Wreath Stitch Along by Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. It's an ongoing stitch along. They released this month's a couple days ago, this month's part. And then we will have one more part next month, and then we'll be done with the stitching. So I'm very excited. This is stitched with all of the called for kitted DMC and linen. It's a 28 count linen in pewter by Picture This Plus. You will have seen this pretty much on every Flosstube. I think I've done almost every one. I pulled this out and show you my progress. So if you're interested in seeing it without the hoop in it, you can go to my last video, I think. But yeah, so this part that I'm working on, it's a little baby crow guy. And then I think it's just kind of like some little details here and there. This is really the big motif in it. And then this is still empty space. So whatever this is will be revealed next month. So very excited. Very happy. I'll probably finish that part up today. And yeah. My next WIP, this is a Night Spirit Studio pattern. I am part of her Patreon. And this was a Patreon pattern in 2022. I started this September 30th, and this is called Nadja. Nadja. I am so hype for the new season of What We Do in the Shadows, which this is what this is from last season. Nadja opens like a nightclub, and this is the sign that she has. And so Night Spirit Studio made it into cross stitch, and it's gorgeous. It looks like I'm almost done with this because you can almost see her full name and her whole face and everything is done. But you can see here, all of this needs to be filled in with this, I think it's like 816 or something, so that it looks like a neon sign. And I am 25% through this. I have worked on it this year, but I actually put it, I think after I UFO'd something, I put this in my WIP Go board again, on my smallest WIP Go board, so I will pull this back out. I do have a new start planned for the premiere of the new season. It's the one by Tuscan Cardinal. I'll put it here. That's like a purchase that I've done in the past few weeks. So I'm gonna start that July 13th when the new episode comes out, but I love this so much. My boyfriend really loves this. He like wants me to finish it really bad, but you know, he also understands I'm insane. So, all right, the next start that I have, I also started this September 30th, and it's actually in this book. That's why I've had this by me the entire time. This is Scrying Mirror by Stitch Sprout. This was in the Divination box from Starlight Stitchery. So that's what the pattern's gonna look like. I have a very measly start. I'm supposed to pull this out this month and work on it, but we'll see what happens. I'm stitching this on some tea-dyed Aida, 18 count Aida, without the called for DMC with 2 strands, yes. So yeah, started in the middle. I will work on that this month, hopefully, and get some progress. Okay, my next WIP is a ongoing stitch along. You have not seen her in a while. She's been in timeout because of lots of reasons. This is the Dark Queen of the Earth stitch along by Autumn Lane Stitchery. And yeah, I'm not going to reveal too much, but I will say I have pulled this back out to get some progress. Reason being, I was not happy with any of the face options. It's just not for me. So now people have been so creative and have like combined some of the face options and just like really customized it and made it their own. I will say check out, oh my gosh, why am I not, I love her. I literally love her Flosstube so much. I'm gonna put her right here, obviously, and I'm gonna link her down below. But I think, well, I can't remember. Anyways, she combined a few aspects of some of the faces that were released, and I think like the scrap face that was released as well. And I actually did like that one, and I thought about doing that. But then I had this like light bulb moment, and I was like, yeah, but like, you know what? I want her to actually be like a dark Queen of the Earth. Like, I want her to be, if I can't make her pretty, I want to make her deadly and gross and grotesque looking. That probably doesn't sound like that's not appealing to you, and that's okay, but it made sense to me. And so I have actually completely recharted her head, and I'm very excited to stitch it. And so I pulled her back out to get some progress. I have not stitched the stuff that I've recharted yet. I've just stitched her bodice here. So the last time you saw her, I think I was working on like this section. And so I finished that section out and then finished her bodice out. I am going to be doing the like dark skin conversion, like the wooden skin conversion that is provided. And I used that to make my recharted head. And notice I'm saying head and not face. That's all I'm going to give you guys. Anyways, I am now a little bit more excited to work on her. I am going to pull her back out later this month. Yeah, I started her September 29th because my fabric got here extremely late, so I wasn't able to start her. My next pattern WIP is Peretta's Trick by Night Spirit Studio. This was a Patreon pattern last year. I started this September 9th of 2022. I have not worked on it since. This is stitched on some 28 count Monaco that I dyed myself with some RIT dye. And I'm stitching this 2/1 tent stitch with just DMC Blanc. And so I'm doing it like I'm doing those wood cuts, but just with white on dark fabric. I don't even know which way this goes. Like, I guess it doesn't matter, but anyways. This is actually a WIP Go pull for this month, so I'm gonna pull this out this month and get some more progress. My next WIP, this is It's Time for Halloween by Witch's Garden Crafts. This was a free stitch along last year in the Snarky and Modern Facebook group. If you are not already a part of that group and you like free stitch alongs, go over there. It's fun. They have lots of free stitch alongs, and this one's really cute. I started this September 7th of 2022, and I'm stitching it with all the called for DMC on some 16 count Aida that I RIT dyed myself. And I'm really close to a finish. My goal is I'm going to pull this back out in September. I think I'm going to dedicate my September. I might actually forgo WIP Go in September, or I might play with my board and put Halloween pieces in for September once they're called, and just swap them around, because I think I want to be happy, and I want to dedicate my stitching time to all spooky Halloween stuff in September, because it's my birthday month, it's the month before Halloween, and like I think that would just be super fun for me. So anyways, so yeah, this is, let's see, 26% complete. Okay, I thought it was way further. That doesn't seem right, but that could be actually inaccurate, because I think I only have like a little bit more. I guess I'll have put the picture up somewhere, but yeah. Anyways, so that was my next WIP. This is Halloween Quaker by Leela Studio, and this was a WIP Go pull for last month, so you will see some progress on this. I started this September 7th of 2022, and I'm stitching this on 40 count Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers, I think crepe myrtle linen, with all the called for classic colorworks. So last time you saw this, I did not have much done. So this time I finished this motif, which took me 34 years, it felt like. I'm a drama queen, as you can tell. And then I finished this witch's hat and started these two motifs here and finished those two little doodads. Once I got done with this, I was really vibing with the piece. I was like, okay, like I'm getting some progress. I don't know why this motif just took me forever, so. But yeah, I definitely want to get this back out in September. I really enjoyed stitching on it this past month, so yes. And I am 10% done. So I did hit my goal. I wanted to hit 10%. and I got there. All right, my next WIP, this is another Heaven and Earth Designs. This is called the Fitting. It's one of their like classic artwork ones. And yes, I am 0.7% through on this one, and I started this July 18th of 2022. You're not gonna be able to see anything on this. It's just background. It's just a bunch of browns and dark grays and DMC 310. I have not stitched on this at all this year. This is stitched on 28 count easy grid 2/110 stitch. Yep, it's on my WIP go. It'll get pulled. All right, my next WIP, this is like the only one I have in a project bag. I had to like iron all of mine and then just lay them out, so all the project bags are in the corner of this room. But this is a Mill Hill kit. Oh, I have the picture right here. This is Wanda's Wands, and this was my travel project for a minute. I did start this on June 21st of 2022, which is funny now I'm looking at it. I think that was the day we left for the beach last year, and I'm stitching it with all the kitted stuff, obviously. So this is my progress. I did stitch on this a little bit this year. Sorry, there's a hanging thread. Not sure what she's doing. I'm almost done with all the cross stitches. That is my goal for the year, is to just finish all the stitching on it. And then I will start the beading. But that's very doable this year. I need to pull this out the next road trip I go on, which will be honestly in a few weeks. So I'm gonna take this for sure, because I want to get it done. It's really cute. And I have some Mill Hill frames already for it. So my next WIP is Pandemic by Long Dog Samplers. I make that face because it's so big and I haven't worked on it this year really. I don't think it's on my WIP go. I started this June 18th of 2022, and I'm stitching this on 22 count white Aida 1/2, 1/1. And I'm stitching this all with DMC. This was DMC that I pulled. I wanted it to be funky and colorful, and I have not like mapped out where I'm putting colors. I just am going with the wind as I feel when I'm stitching. I'm loving it though. I know the main, like a lot of the border, well, most of the, all of the border that I'm going to do, it's going to be this DMC, I think 32. This has some of my favorite DMC colors in it. So this is DMC, I think 16. It's like my favorite, like gross green. I love it. My next WIP, this is a Patreon pattern, or it was a Patreon pattern. It is now available on her website and her Etsy. This is by the Witchy Stitcher. This is called Haunted Carousel. I started this on June 11th of 2022, and I am 17% of the way through. This was already pulled this year, so I did get some progress on it, and I did hit my goal. I wanted to hit 15%, and I got to 17%. I'm stitching it with all the called for DMC on a 32 count Murano that I dyed myself. This is a lot more stitching than you think it is, but it's just really, it's a lot of dense stitching with this gray and all this black here, and yeah. But it's so cute. I don't know if I'll pull this out again this year, but we shall see. This I started June 1st of 2022. It was my Pride start. And this is Move Forward in Love by Modern Folk Embroidery. I am stitching this on some 18 count Aida that was dyed by the Stitchy Ferret. And that is my progress. I'm stitching it with just rainbow DMC that I kind of just pulled myself. I went off of his DMC list, but I didn't have some of them at the time, so I just kind of pulled a rainbow myself, pretty much. Pretty easy to do. So yeah, I'm not going to do the full coverage. So I am like a little less than 50% of the way through with this. I'm going to do the other version he has. And I think I might do the Buy Pride flag colors as like the text, like do kind of like an ombre effect. I don't know. I haven't decided, but my next WIP, this is actually a pull for this month too, and I want to finish it. This is 1905 Bird by Bendy Stitchy. And I am doing this on the called for 36 count baked clay linen from Fox and Rabbit. And then I'm stitching it with the Sulky pack of threads. And I am very close to a finish. So I just have to finish off this wing here and then finish this leaf, one cherry, and then finish this bird, the two trees, and then the other bird. But this is a really quick stitch. I mean, the majority of the stitching I did here in the little bird chicken guy. And a lot of it's half stitches, which I love. I love the texture that it gives. I love that it takes less time, and it looks good. So yeah, hopefully you will see that as a finish by the end of this month. My next WIP, this is 1844 Lady Man by Bendy Stitchy. And I started 1905 Bird on May 29th. I started this on May 27th. And I'm stitching this on the called for, which was 28 count milk and honey linen by Fiber on a Whim. And yeah, I definitely had some progress on this year. I have Lady Man in. And then obviously I did all of this. I did have to fudge this. I messed up on it, but you wouldn't know unless I told you, which I just did, but yeah. So I definitely want to pull this out again this year, but I don't know if I will. But I feel like I'm going to put it on my WIP go board for next year. I'll definitely be able to get a finish, I think, next year. All right, my next WIP, this is Monthly Moons by Top Knot Stitcher. So I finished the first moon and then I started the second moon. I'm still counting this as a WIP because I want to do all of the moons on this one piece of fabric. And I started this on May 25th of 2022. And I'm stitching it on, I think the called for 20 count Aida. It's like this sparkle Aida, printed Aida, obviously. And yeah, so this was January's moon, and then this is February's, and that's where I stopped. This already got pulled this month or this year, but I was not able to get to it. My goals were too lofty that month. And I honestly, like, I played back and forth with UFOing it, and I was like, you're just trying to UFO it because you're upset that you didn't pull it out, Cameron. At the end of the day, I love that, and I want to finish all the moons. And so I'm gonna basically, I'm gonna do like 6 moons here, 6 moons here, and then turn it into like a little tapestry thing. You know what I'm saying? Because that'll be so cute. So anyways, my next WIP is Wicked Siblings by Mama Witch X Stitch. I started this May 13th of 2022. And I have not worked on it since. Hanging thread and everything. Stitched on 18 count black Aida, as you can see. There you go. Called for Aida, or called for DMC. This is on my WIP go board, so. All right, this one, same thing. I started it May 7th, 2022. It's called Possum Song, I think, by Mama Witch X Stitch. And I'm stitching this on 32 count Murano in this like mustard color, and that's all I have done. This is my next one. I started May 6th. This is called the Fur Bat. It is a freebie by Night Spirit Studio, and I have not stitched on it since I started it. It's got some fuzzies on it. This is stitched on 18 count black Aida with all the called for DMC. I hate that I start these things, and you know what? It's fine. They're started. I will be able to work on them when they're pulled, and it's fine. So let's not be rude to myself. All right, this next WIP is a Heaven and Earth Designs. It's called Empress Eugenia, surrounded by ladies. And I'm at 2.3% done with this. I started it March 18th of 2022, and I'm almost at a page finish. You can see a tree. This is stitched on 25 count easy grid 2/110 stitch. Also, that is on my WIP Go board. It just hasn't been pulled yet. Okay. Sorry, I'm going rapid fire now because I'm showing you a bunch of stuff that I haven't done anything on. All right, this one I have. So this one is Mary Morgan's by Fox and Rabbit Designs. I started this on March 8th of 2022, and I am at 47% complete. This was pulled this year, and I finished this page down here. Ugh, I love this. I'm stitching it on 40 count platinum linen by Zweigart. And I am actually gonna pull this out this month, probably soon, because Marjorie started a new like pick a whip hashtag / game. So on her channel, she pulls like a little piece of paper and it tells her, it has prompts on it. So pick something, pick a whip that has birds on it was this one. And so I am using that as an excuse to get this back out and get some progress. Because ideally, I really want to finish this next year. I have it, I'm going to put it on my WIP Go board like 3 or 4 times so I can finish it. So this will be a focus for next year for sure. Very happy with that. Doing all the called for DMC there as well. All right, my next WIP, this is a WIP Go pull for this month, so I will be stitching on this again. This is the Fruits of Plenty stitch along from 2021, and I started it February 15th, 2022. This is by Modern Folk Embroidery, and I am at 9% complete on this. It's so pretty. So I'm stitching this on 40 count linen in the color Blush by Zweigart. Sorry, that took me forever to think. And I'm stitching it with 2 colors of DMC that I picked. And it's gorgeous. I'm stitching it 1/2. Yes. Yeah, so I think when I start working on it again, I think instead of going down, I think I'm gonna go over and get some progress over there this month. All right, my next WIP, this was a WIP Go pull, I think last month or the month before. You've seen it recently. This is the Wizard of Oz stitch along by Flosstubers Embroidery. I'm at 30% complete on this, and I started it February 11th of 2022. I'm stitching this on 32 count linen by Jackson Fabric. Jackson Fabric. I don't remember. It's on Etsy. And it's so pretty. All the called for DMC. Yeah, so I got some progress on that and I'm happy with it. Reached my goal, so yeah. You won't see that again this year though. All right, this next WIP, this is another Owl Forest embroidery. I got this a while back. I started this on February 7th of 2022. I'm stitching it with the called for DMC and on the called for linen, which I think just came with it. I got the linen in the pattern. And I don't even know if this is the right way up, but this is what I have so far. This is a WIP Go pull for this month, so I am gonna pull this back out. It's just kind of hard to stitch on because it's a paper pattern and it's a color chart, and I hate working with color charts, especially that are paper patterns. So my next WIP, which is very close to a finish and I just need to pull it out, but it's on my WIP Go board. I started this January 30th of 2022. This is a freebie by Night Spirit Studio, and it is called Frimp. And yes, it's adorable. I am at 50% complete on this. So I really just have to fill in these and then finish that tail up. And yeah. If you love weird shit, go check out Night Spirit Studio. She has, I think 3 Furby meme patterns as freebies. So I will definitely finish this year for sure. My next WIP I started January 26th of 2022. This is the Cryptid Stitch Along by the Witchy Stitcher, and I am at 54% complete. My goal is to finish this year. I'm gonna pull this out starting in August through September through October and finish it. I'm gonna do one cryptid at a time. I think in my WIP parade, I only had maybe 4 of these done. So I definitely have worked on it this year, but I'm very happy with the results. So this is stitched on a 28 count raw linen, 2/2, called for DMC. Yay. I know it doesn't look like it, but it will get done this year. I'm like super jazzed on that goal that I have. All right, this next one I have not pulled out either. This was started January 17th of 2022. It's at 29% done, and it's not a big pattern. It's called the Halloween Mini Quaker Sampler. It's by Happy Mood Point on Etsy. This was in my very early days of buying patterns on Etsy, so hanging thread. This is stitched on some 18 count like printed Ada that's like green. I don't remember the name of it. And I'm stitching it with DMC 310. Yep. This is on my WIP Go board, so I will pull it out again. It's a really simple pattern. I'm not jazzed about this fabric anymore, but that's okay. It'll look cool when it's done. Okay, my next WIP, we're getting to the really old ones now. I only have like 3 left, I think. Yeah, 3. I have 3 left. This is the Changing Season Stitch Along. This was the 2022 Stitch Along from Fox and Rabbit last year. They put on a free Stitch Along every year. And I started this January 12th of 2022. This is huge, and I'm having thoughts about it. This is stitched on 18 count ivory Ada with DMC 115, which is a variegated floss. I'm never gonna finish this, and that's how I kind of feel. This outer border is so much stitching, and I haven't even finished like the arrows at the bottom. So I'm thinking about possibly finishing the inner square and then just like literally framing it like this and just ignoring the stitching that I've done on the outside and not doing the border because I cannot be arsed. It's so pretty, but I'm just like, it's a lot of stitching. I just can't do it. I can, but I don't want to. So yeah, but I'm not gonna UFO it. I want to get some progress into it and see how I feel. This is my second to oldest WIP. This is Modern Folk Embroidery's Dutch Sampler 2022 Stitch Along. I started this January 10th of 2022. I have not worked on it this year, I don't think. I can't remember. It's on my WIP Go board, so I will work on it. This one's so big. So yeah, I put my own name in it, and I'm stitching it with DMC 310. I'm doing 1 thread over 2 on 32 count. And I just took, this is like Zweigart linen, and I dyed it in some tea very lightly because I was scared. I was too scared. It was my first time dyeing with tea. I am close-ish to a finish. I think I have 4.5 more parts to complete on it, and I will be done. It is so beautiful. I am very motivated to work on it when it gets called. The only thing is stitching 1/2 on 32 count is kind of weird feeling. But I had done it as called for because that's what Jacob called for, and I didn't know any better back then. I'm satisfied with, I'm actually really happy the way it looks. It looks very antique and old and prim, and so I'm into it. But if I did it again, I'd probably just do it on a 36 count with one strand. But it's gonna be big and bold and gorgeous, and I'll have to get it professionally framed. So, all right, this is my last WIP, guys. Okay, so this is my oldest WIP. This is from June 20th, 2021. This was that kit that I was talking about where I was almost finished with it, so I should have just finished it. And then I kind of got sucked into the world of Flosstube and all the things. So this is called Village Landscape. It is a kit by Luca S. And yeah, it is very dirty. And there's a wrinkle in it that I didn't get out apparently. So I'm doing it with all the called for, all the kit stuff, obviously. And as you can see, I literally just have this portion to stitch. And it's very dirty because I took it to work with me every day because I hated that job. And I stitched at my desk. And so just like carrying it in with my purse and stuff, like it just got dirty. So I'll have to wash this after it's done. But this is on my WIP go. So I will finish it this year. Because that really, I know it's full coverage, but that really is not that much stitching because some of this is the sky and some of these are half stitches, or I think all of the sky is half stitches. So it'll just be finishing up this tree and like the house and more greenery really. So yeah, so that was my oldest WIP. And that is all my WIPs. And I think that's it. I will say, I have UFO'd quite a bit this year. And it's because last year was my year of like watching Flosstube and being obsessed and starting a bunch of things because I got really excited. And then this year is the year that I am starting a bunch of things because I'm in the Flosstube world and I'm starting a bunch of things with my friends and I'm having a good time. Also, let me give you the WIP count. Duh. I'm sure some of you might be on the edge of your seats. But basically what I'm trying to say is the things I have UFO'd have mostly been just because they're not calling to me, they're not my style anymore, or I'm not happy with the fabric and the floss or the floss choices that I made at the time. I know that I had a comment a couple videos ago talking about they wanted to know what my WIP count, or not my WIP count, sorry, that's what I'm looking up. They wanted to know what my UFOs were. And I have decided not to share those because of several reasons. One, I want to put this out here right now. You don't have to have a reason to UFO anything. They're your projects. It's the money, your money that you spent, like, or, you know, your gift that you were given. And if you don't want to stitch on it anymore, you don't have to. UFOing also, like, I'm not necessarily giving these away yet. I'm not like throwing them away. They're just sitting in a place that maybe one day I'll get them back out, or maybe one day I'll restart the project on a different fabric, different floss, or whatever that may be. I just kind of don't want to like get into it, like, because I think I feel like this internal shame for like money I've wasted, or like I wasted this time, and I think that's like childhood trauma. But I think it's just like not worth it for me to share what I've UFO'd. I definitely do not want to pull all my UFOs out because they're all like jumbled somewhere in storage. But I will tell you, I UFO'd 18 things this year. And I'll be upfront and honest, actually, because one of them I've just completely lost. It's not that I wanted to UFO it. I cannot find it for the life of me. And it's fine. If it just shows up in my end of year WIP parade, I won't address it, but like if you really want to do some searching, like just like wait for that to pop up. Because I think I started it in 2022. I just cannot find it for the life of me. So my final WIP count for mid-year is 59 WIPs, which, if I'm remembering correctly, sorry, I have to adjust a little bit, I think I was over 60 at the beginning of this year. Now, I have had 12 finishes this year. So 12 finishes, a lot of those were starts and finishes this year. Not a lot were rolling over from 2022, but I did finish a couple of those. So that feels good. I know I'm going to get a lot more finishes in by the end of the year. I am actually very happy with 59 WIPs. I was at one point like at 65. And then I finished a couple things and UFO'd a couple of things. I just, when you're going through these WIPs, you're just like, it just kind of strikes you when you start talking out loud to someone about them. Like, I've talked to my friends about someone's, I've talked to my partner, Connor, like, I'm just like, I'm telling him like, oh yeah, like this is how I feel about this and the fabric, and like, I don't know about this part. And, he's like, just then don't stitch on it. And I'm like, you're right. So anyways, I've hit the 2-hour mark. Obviously, I'm going to edit quite a bit, so that's probably not where you are, but I am going to go ahead and give you guys a life update, and so you can, if you're not interested, you can totally knock yourself out. Go watch another WIP parade, go watch a kit parade, go watch some Flosstube, and have fun. I hope you had a good time with me and are entertained about the ungodly amount of WIPs I have. And yeah, but I'm going to give you a little life update. So next week I'll give you a regular Flosstube update and kind of update you on just, I have a little bit of haul and like, I'll just update you on whatever WIPs that I've been working on. But I was not able to come back. I was not able to do I wasn't able to pre-record, and I wasn't able to film obviously at the beach, and I wasn't able to film when I got back for a lot of reasons. So let me take you back. A few days before I left for the beach, actually, let me fast forward to 2 years ago. 2 years ago, we had just moved into this apartment. I was sitting on the floor, and I had become obsessed with I was gonna all of a sudden sew all these clothes. And I was sewing a jacket, and I was cutting the fabric on the floor because, again, I don't have a craft room. I don't have a place. I don't have anything like high enough. I'm 5'10". I don't have anything tall enough where I'm going to be able to stand and like cut fabric. So I have to do it on the floor. Well, I went to go like grab a ruler or my scissors or something. I was sitting on the floor, and I like bent forward. I like went like that, quickly to grab something. And I just felt something snap, crackle, and pop. I don't know what happened back there, but it was horrible. I was in so much pain, but it has been drilled into me to like, I can get over it, and like, I don't need to go to the doctor and spend that money. And I'm trying to deconstruct that, don't worry. So I had gotten up. I was also like, I'm 25, like I'm fine, whatever. And I went and I laid down in the bed. Connor was very supportive, and he just was like, I think you should go to the doctor. Like, I think we should check this out. And I was like, no, I'm fine. And we had plans later that night to go hang out with some of his buddies. And I was so determined to go out because I was going to have FOMO. And so I ended up not resting for the rest of the night. And I went out with him and his friends, and I was miserable the whole time. My back hurt so bad, and I kept having to sit down. And so, yeah, so then from there, that was 2 years ago. From there, I've just had some lower back issues. I just have days where it's really bad, and I have days where it's not as bad. And then a few months ago, I was at a point where I was actually fine. Like, I was not feeling that soreness back there. I was able to walk like for long periods of time and not feel that like aching pain back there. And I was like, oh, awesome. Like, it's getting better. It healed on its own, whatever. So a few days before I leave for the beach, I am wrapping up work stuff, and I work from home. I go then lay on my bed because I can do that. And I was hanging out with Connor and we were just like talking, whatever. And then I was like, all right, I need to get up and like do a couple more things and like sign out of my work computer and, you know, whatever. So I got up, went out into the living room, which is where we are now. And my cat Vindaloo was on the floor and the sun was coming in the afternoon. It comes in through these windows. And so she was sunbeaming. And of course, me as the mother that I am, I had to tell her that she was, you know, the smallest, tiniest, littlest lady in the whole world and that she was sunbeaming in a sunbeaming world. And so I squatted down because, you know, after you say that to your beautiful fur baby, you have to then pet her and tell her that she's doing so good. I mean, you know, if you have a pet and you know they're sunbeaming, like, you know, like petting them, like their fur is so warm and they're just so cute. So I knelt down and to pet her. I pet her a couple times, told her she was my, you know, mama's whole world. And then when I got up from the squatting position, you guessed it, something snapped, crackled, and popped. I don't know what happened, but it was worse than the 2 years ago. It was some of the most excruciating pain I have ever experienced in my life. And I stumbled over to this couch and tried to like lay on my side because the week prior, my hip had been kind of tight. My left hip kind of felt tight, but it wasn't my lower back. So I was like, oh, we're good. And so it was definitely like right into my left hip, not so much the center of my lower back, which was what happened 2 years ago. And so I was trying to lay on my side, my right side on here. It was excruciating. Sitting and laying down on this couch felt worse than standing. So then my partner heard my whimpering and cries, and so he came and helped me off the couch and into the bed. And it was just like, I mean, standing, sitting, laying down, all of it felt awful. I had no idea what to do. He was kind of running around panicking. I was sitting there panicking. At one point I was like Googling and I thought maybe I dislocated my hip. Like, I didn't know what happened. And then upon further research, I was like, I think it might be nerve damage. I think something's happening. And I think I had to make the decision. I said, we have to go to the ER. So anyways, we saw the doctor. Essentially, I don't know what's causing it yet. I need to go to a follow-up with probably like a orthopedic doctor or whatever you call it. But basically something is pushing on my sciatic nerve. It could be a couple of things, right? Like it could be just, I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but it's got to be something that's pushing on the sciatic nerve. So I have sciatica at the ripe age of 27. And basically what it causes is I have a shooting pain in my left hip and down my leg, pretty much. And what was really scary about it is my entire left leg was numb. So like it was weird because like you touched my leg and it was numb, but I was still also experiencing like shooting nerve pains going down it internally. So then we had to leave that Sunday for the beach, and we had to take a lot of breaks from the car ride. It was only like a 3.5 hour drive, but I had to get up a lot and walk around because being stuck in one position, they don't want you to do that. Like they need you to get up every 30 minutes or so and like get some walks in. So that was really tough. So then at the beach, obviously I was not able to like do a whole lot. Wasn't able to walk far at all. I could not walk probably more than 10 minutes at a time without sitting down. It was really, really painful. And on top of that, and I don't want to sound ungrateful at all. I was very grateful for the vacation. But I'm also not like gonna be toxic positivity about it. And I'm gonna be honest, it was really rough. Like I was in a lot of pain and I was not in my own bed, you know, like I'm in this condo. And we were stuck in that condo pretty much all week because it rained from Monday night to Saturday morning. More than anything, this physical thing that's happened to me, having sciatica, it's just made me feel so out of tune with my body. And I am at a very mentally low place at the moment. I know it probably doesn't seem like it today, but well, whatever. But yeah, I'm just like, my mental health is at an all-time low. I haven't felt like this since 2020, I'll be honest. There are lots of other things going on. Work is kind of crazy, but you know, that's whatever. And it's just, you know, like when you're not in tune with your own body and like things are out of your control, and then like on top, like vacation wasn't vacation. It just felt like wasted time, and I felt so bad because my partner does not get a lot of PTO, and that was his vacation like for the whole year. And I felt awful because we really could not go out and do much. I was not able to walk far. We weren't able to go to like a museum or an aquarium. I would have been miserable, and I felt so bad. I just felt like a burden. I felt like I was holding him back. And I'm not gonna get too much into it, but I'm just at a very low place. And so when we got back, you know, I'm still in a lot of pain, but being in my own bed definitely made a difference. Just having my own routine, like getting back in the swing of things, it was better. But mentally, I still am not feeling great. So that's why I was not in a good mindset to film. I was not in a good mindset to be able to like organize myself. I cannot bend down to pick anything up. So that's like a real problem. Just thank you all for like, everyone has been like so kind. And like when I said there wasn't going to be a video, like everyone was like, take your time, like girl, it's not that big of a deal, you know, like everyone was very supportive and kind, and gave me some kind words. So I very much appreciate that. Thank you all for keeping up with, if you have made it this far, thank you so much. I really, 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 really love you all. If you've made it this far, comment like a ghost emoji or something. Yeah, a little ghost emoji, because it's spooky season for me now. Oh my goodness. Mia. Are you awake? Are you awake? Are you sentient? Oh. Is that a nice place to sleep? Is that a good place to sleep? Okay, so it is nice and stormy here, so I'm gonna go ahead and sign off. Thank you for joining my WIP parade. Thank you if you stayed through that life update, and I will definitely see you next week with a regular Flosstube update. And yeah, happy stitching. Love y'all. Bye, baby.